Hello, Final Fantasy Randomizer 2. My name is Hebbinks, and we are here streaming today Wildham versus High Spirits Game 3 for Speed Gaming Live 2023's tournament. Unfortunately, the channel was full up today, so we really wanted to bring this race out to the masses so anybody follow along with these races could watch. So tonight we're streaming on Final Fantasy Randomizer 2. Shout out to the Final Fantasy Randomizer community for hosting us as always. Tonight in the commentary booth, I am joined by T, another racer in this tournament, and we are thankfully have the help of tracking from Hatox, another participant in the community. T, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm super fine actually. Just won my first race, first game of the best of three, and yeah, I'm pretty hyped for this race because they are already in game 3, and yeah.
This is going to be a very interesting race. Both runners had a very great showing last race last night, so gonna be a great showing tonight from these two very excellent runners. One of them, the actual creator of this randomizer, Wildham. And while they go ahead and get set up, we're about to get to see the gate drop for them in about a minute or so. Until then, T, could you go ahead and regale the audience with our seed settings for tonight?
Yeah, as I just mentioned in the chat before, this flag set we have here for the tournament is really cool for races. We have brown boxes mixed in the pool, so we can have all the important items in brown box locations. Also, NPCs and battlefields are prioritized. So we have battlefields and NPCs will have important items or main items. No cure potions also from them, and which makes the non-dungeon locations really important. Also, we have simple or standard logic, which means we will get coins relatively early in the seeds that will open up the map really fast. And then you have a lot of route options available to you. So we will see route divergence between the runners probably pretty early in the run. And then, yeah, we will see which one got the better hand with that.
Yeah, we definitely saw an instance of route divergence early on in yesterday's match between these two. The river coin and sand coin were found very early. Both runners split off to different areas of the map, making a huge difference in finding items in certain orders. Ultimately, Ham found everything he needed for go mode before High Spirits, giving him the victory in the end. And it looks like our runners are off, starting off with Claws. Not a great weapon to start off with, but it's great for exploration.
And there's we have an enemy actually in front of the old man in the level forest, which is never a good feeling, because then you have to go back afterwards. And we have a chest in Kaylee's house with the steel sword.
Yep, now that steel sword might not seem like much, but it's really the only sword you need for the entire run. Go mode this race is going to consist of any sword, any axe, mega grenades, dragon claw, the Mobius crest, the captain's cap, the thunder rock, and then the sky coin is going to be rewarded from killing all 4 major bosses. That's Skullurus Rex, dual-headed Hydra, Ice Golem, and the infamous Pazuzu. And it doesn't matter what order you kill them in.
Yeah. And we also get early bombs, so we have a claw, a sword, and the bomb, which means basically every dungeon is open already. Just checking Foresta. And also the bombs would be pretty nice to just clear the brownies in front of the old man, and the old man actually drops the river coin.
Yep, Wildham opted to go grab Tristram and go ahead and kill that brownie to get that progression out of the way now. Probably going to on his way to pick up that sword and those bombs. Meanwhile, High Spirits, after dipping into Foresta, looks like he hasn't checked the old man yet, instead opting to go grab some experience from the battleground left of Bone Dungeon.
The gray one? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it looks like it's an experience battleground. Would you like to go ahead and regale our chat with what the different colors mean for the battlegrounds?
Oh yeah, in the vanilla game you only have the green icons for the battlefields, and but in the randomizer we can shuffle around which reward the battlefields give us. So we have experience, money, and an item. And when they are shuffled, then to see what kind of battlefield you got, we have different colors for that. The blue battlefields will be items, and since we have priority on battlefields, there will be main items, important items. And the green battlefields will be money, with the gray ones being experience. And yeah, I don't like going for experienced battlefields in the Foresta area, actually, because the enemies that you fight here on the battlefields are actually worth not a lot of experience points. So even though the reward can be nice, you're not getting a lot of money and experience from the fights. You have to fight before you get the reward. So if you go for a battlefield that early on, it should be at least money, if not an item, or just otherwise I would recommend to just skip it.
Yeah, it looks like Wildham and High Spirits took that one battleground over to the right just because it was a single fight encounter. Looks like it's a decent XP reward. There are certain situations where you might need to grind up a couple levels, especially if you're forced into fighting Skuller's Rex very soon with a limited arsenal. But aside from that, I agree with you. Early battlegrounds, especially experienced ones, are not really great to get through. You usually don't have a good arsenal to quickly clear out those battlefields. Tristram's not good for clearing out multiple enemies. Wildham already making its way to Fireberg and getting the noble armor. Meanwhile, High Spirits diving straight into Bone Dungeon. Looks like he might be looking to full clear this and get it out of the way now, much like yesterday.
He will full clear it now, and he grinded a lot of experience for that. So the fight should be fine-ish. What I not mentioned yet for the flag set is we have standard enemy scaling from 50% to 125%, which means on average enemies will be quite weaker than in the vanilla game. Meanwhile, we have a boss scaling from 100% to 150%, so bosses are guaranteed to be at least as strong, and most of the time much stronger than in the vanilla game. And this what makes an early Flameless Rex fight kind of dangerous, actually, because he might end up with like over 3000 HP, and just having bombs and Tristram's attack for that it will take quite a long time to kill him.
Yeah, no, thankfully High Spirits did pick up a battle axe that's going to give him around 400, maybe 800 if it crits per round. But the damage from Rex is going to be gnarly to get around as well.
He does a lot of damage, and battle axe, as you can see, can miss quite a bit. Also, I don't think at this level he will do 400, probably 360.
Roughly,
bombs doing 174, which is quite low. So Flame Rex rolled for quite a lot of defense here.
Yeah, if he finally lands a hit with the axe, it'll be nice to see how much he's going to actually do.
After 2 misses, he went to bombs again. But Flameless Rex is somewhat behaving with his attacks at least. So High Spirits gets through the fight quite nicely so far.
Yeah, I genuinely think High Spirits is taking this fight because he forgot to go back and check the Old Man in level Forest.
Yeah, right.
To get that river coin.
Yeah, and I would have thought since he got the bombs, and standard bombs are usually one shot for all 3 brownies, I would have thought he immediately goes back to the level Forest, but he just might have forgotten that he already went there and couldn't progress because of the enemy.
Yeah.
We will see after he's done with the fight if he goes back there or if he skips this and forgot about it, which would be really bad.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he will be last locationed into that spot eventually. That's the only progression he has to get out of Foresta. Hopefully that's not the case, and he's just decided to go ahead and take this on early, hopefully getting rewards. Meanwhile, Wildham getting some nice items we haven't mentioned. Suncoin was sold at the vendor, did cost a costly 500 GP, but well worth it to get early Phoebe access if that's on the table today. Gaia armor was a huge pickup for him. That's going to give him resistance to wind, water, and lightning, and immunity from sleep and poison. Sleep being an annoyance, nowhere near as bad as confusion and paralysis, though.
Yeah, Gaia armor is really nice to have early, but it's always just a bonus. The most important pieces of armor for this flag set are Moon Helmet or Apollo Helmet for the fire resistance. You need that to not be one-shot by the Dark King's Flare. And on top of that, it's really important to have Aegis Shield and Cupid Locket. otherwise Dark King fight will be really, really hard to survive.
Yeah, webs are going to be nasty. High Spirits, I believe, is either fading or cleared out.
He cleared it out. He's
Regs.
full
Okay.
HP, so I think he cleared it
Yep.
out.
So that's out of his way now, not getting his coin. So probably going to go ahead and dip back in the forest. Wildham has picked up exit, though, and that is going to be huge for him.
Oh, yeah. Exit is such a game changer. It was in my race. I got it early, and it saves so much time if you have it early. And having the exit advantage is really important and can decide to run basically if you have it for quite some time. I hope Highspirit knows that he didn't check level forest again and doesn't go to the focus tower. Okay, he checks it. Nice.
Yep, very nice. Yeah. So what having? Oh.
He
skipped the brownie.
He skipped it. Yes.
There we go. And now that he has an axe,
checks the 2 chests here. And he finds an item. That's cool. Just a giant axe. Oh, okay. It will help him with some damage, but it's really not a great weapon.
Yeah, accuracy is pretty low on all the axes.
You can do that, high spirits, but it's a 5-battle battlefield, so
yeah, we'll see how it plays
you need
out.
some money, so maybe she should have gambled. We will see. I didn't check on Wildham's side which battlefields we have in Fireberg from this side we just got. The left sides are only experience. I didn't see what the front battlefields are. It's really before Fireberg, maybe. If I were in Highspirit's shoes, I would have gambled to get a money battlefield in Fireberg, and since Wildham was able to buy it, he should have found one there.
Yeah,
because these 5 battles here cost some time and don't give you anything. The experience points, especially from these trees, is really low. Each one only gives 50 experience, and yeah, it's 5 battles. It's a maximum that's possible in this flag set.
Now, unfortunately, for Wildham on his side, he doesn't have the experience that High Spirits is going to have going into this Jin fight, not to mention the Giant's Axe, so he's not going to be doing hardly any damage and almost going down to every single attack.
I must say this is really risky from Wildham. I hope it works out for him, because so my rule of thumb for Jin is usually 400 HP going into the fight.
I don't imagine Ham sticking to this fight too long if it's unbeatable. Looks like we only had a money in 2 XP battlegrounds on the right side of Fireberg there, so no item battlegrounds over there. I think everybody else is in Windia and in Aquaria for our item battlegrounds.
We have 5 item battlegrounds on the world map, and in Aquaria we have 7 or so battlefields, so it could be all in Aquaria actually, but yeah, chances are high that at least one of them is in Windia. Windia battlefields, the one with the oozes can be quite some pain if the oozes roll relatively high for HP. But usually you can clear them out quite well, quite nicely with VB2.
Spirit's doing his due diligence with some of that extra battleground rewards, getting some seeds stocked up before tackling what he's going to next. Looks like he's going to get more experience and more money.
That's a good choice from him, and yeah, Wildham dies to the Jin. He has no fire resistance on Benjamin, or on Cecil in his case, and 280 HP means Cecil gets one shot by every attack from the Jin, and that's not a good point, not a good way to go into the fight, fortunately.
Yeah, even if he decided to whittle this down with Ruben, it is going to cost him a lot of time.
So much time.
Meanwhile, High Spirits, I'll be interested to see where he goes first, if he goes Volcano first like Wildham did, or if he's going to go ahead and dive into mines as well.
Volcano check is quite well. I would recommend just doing the first screen and the ladder to the right, which is only one room further in. If you have the exit spell really early, then it's also nice to go up, because you can exit out from there. Going up with not being able to fight Medusa efficiently without the access spell is quite a time investment, so it might be worth a gamble. I had seeds where I had an important chest behind Medusa, didn't go up there and cleared everything else out just to go up there later and lose a ton of time because of that. So it can be a gamble that turns out well for you, but yeah, it's an outside chance, I would say.
Yeah, Ham finally opting to bail out of that fight. I think he was looking to get Ruben's item check out of the way, but yeah,
it was quite a big time loss, unfortunately for him. And yeah, he should just do some battle here if he wants to go for that.
Yeah, High Spirits meanwhile picking up Ruben and going straight to Windia. Interesting play.
I don't know about that actually, but we will see if it works out. Also, it's a gamble. There are some free checks in Windia, which you can always do. You have the vendor, which has a guaranteed item, so you're guaranteed to get one item there. You have this check. You can go for the rope bridge. He has the axe. You can dip into the alive forest and the first floor of the tree. So there are quite some chests he can access to right now. So it might be worth it. We will see.
Yeah, decent density. It looks like Ham also following suit, going to Windia. Ham, even though he did have a bit of time lost there behind the Jin, let's keep in mind, he has checked Volcano, grabbed exit, so he's already got the mobility advantage over High Spirits right now. Yep. Not to mention that he, is going to go one-shot Rex. Yeah. Never mind. Let's just get that out of the way.
He goes to Rex, and that's better. Because he doesn't even have an axe, so going to Windia would mean he has a lot fewer checks. Not fewer. It has quite some fewer checks there. And the tree check, especially the check with Life Forest tree, is so fast if you have exit. At least in comparison to not having exit and to having to go out there, then to backtrack all the way out there again. So Wilhelm will do him really good if he decides to go for it.
Venus Key from our vendor there. That is a check that's going to lead to another couple checks. North Focus Tower and Spencer's Cave. Meanwhile, getting just a charm necklace from Windhold Temple. Not a great accessory. It really only gives you like 1 defense and like 2 evasion. No status resistances or immunities. But Windia is pretty dense in chests itself. I think there's about 10 checks in town. Jumbo bombs is a reward. Not bad. That's a damage increase. That's guaranteed damage increase. Not quite as good as getting some high-powered spells, but at least it's consistent damage you can get out in a pinch. And we have a chest in Grandpa's basement, the Night Sword.
It's not bad what you found there. Night Sword can be nice for normal enemy fights because it gives you that speed boost of 10 points. And the Jumbo Bombs also make this battlefield, which we have here, which has an item actually. This is the Ooze battlefield. So Oozes are weak to bombs and have auto reflect on them, so you can't fight them with spells. And then and therefore having some stronger bombs for them is actually quite nicely.
Wildham looks like he forgot that he could just life this boss with Ruben and one-shot it. Instead opting to take him down the old-fashioned way. Still going to be much faster clear than what High Spirits had with Tristram 1. And then he's going to be able to exit on out of here.
Usually, I don't know if it's every seed, but usually life doesn't work on him, does it?
Yeah. So as long as your character or your partner is higher level than Sculler's Rex, you can one-shot him with life. Sculler's Rex is level 8. Yep, it's level based. So Sculler's Rex is level 8, which means Tristan 1 and Kaylee 1 cannot use the life kill. Every other partner can. Phoebe can do it. Ruben can do it. Yeah, Tristan 2 can do it.
Never knew that. Cool, that's good to know. Wow. I actually learned something here. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to get out of the way now. Wildham dipping back into the forest, gonna be picking up that giant's axe. Not a huge reward, but
it will make this Jin fight a bit easier for him if he decides to go for it now. Because that's the highest damaging weapon and action he has besides the arrow spell, and it's not that much lower than the arrow spell, but it has a much shorter animation, so it might be worse if he decides to fight Jin again, going for the just attacking with the axe instead of arrow. Also, unfortunately he made a small routing mistake through focus tower, so if you have exit, you want to, and you are on your way to Windia, you want to leave the focus tower on the Windia exit first, and then go back in and go to the cellar and checking for the item, and then exit out there, and then you are back in Windia. It's basically the same route we do in the speedrun, and it saves a bunch of time because you don't have to backtrack out of the cellar.
And definitely making use of your mobility options with exits going to be key to making the difference of getting the king first or second in this route. High Spirits is in a much better place to take on Jin. I'll be interested to see if he goes ahead and clears this fight with no problem. I don't foresee too much of an issue besides the fire spells. That's still going to be an issue for our runners here.
Yeah, we don't have fire resistance yet, so Flame Pillar will be quite a pain. I didn't check how much.
Accidentally double tapped Ruben with both of those seeds.
Oh no, that's since he's pretty short on money still, that's quite a loss when he actually gets a partner which has magic spells. So for Ruben you don't need, for Ruben 1 at least, you don't need seeds that often because he has 23 life spells, should hold a long time. Let's see how much damage Flame Pillar does. Oh, 316 only, so it's not one shot at least, so he should be fine for this fight.
Yeah, Jumbo Bomb's going to be a nice, consistent source of damage. Arrow is the most damaging spell he can, most damaging action he can take against Jin right now. But since he only has one spell charge, not going to be able to use that too much.
I just would go for the axe here. It will deal over 500 damage if it hits, and it can crit. So it should be his best option for this fight. But he gets really unlucky with the sleep attacks here. Oh my god. But he still should be fine. He shouldn't wipe.
Yeah, barren level forest for our runners though. I mean, a live forest, excuse me. Nothing in tree. I didn't see any boxes on the way to tree as well. So pretty empty. Ham on his way to pick up that consolation prize of a charm from Windhole. While Spirits takes on Jin.
No, yeah, it's really just a consolation prize here for our runners. On the accessory side, yeah, actually I like this check from wildham. He goes the wrong way, but it doesn't matter. Or it's really faster to check it, but if you go there and there is actually an item, then you have to go all the way around. So, but yeah, I like this route for.
Yeah, it's quicker for a peak.
Yeah, it's really nice quick peek. Usually if I check it, I just go directly to the item, but yeah, actually it's much better to go around this way and just peek if there's something. And yeah, I like this. This is the only chest on Mount Gale and on Mount Gale that you can reach out the Dragonclaw. Everything else, the other two chests are behind the Dragonclaw. There are also two chests in Pazuzu's Tower that you can reach without Dragonclaw on floor 3. I didn't see him going for them yet, but he might now. No, he was doing it first.
Yep, Ham picking up money from that single battleground. 300 GP, while not a ton, is just enough to get the Venus key from the vendor here. Some chunky fish, though. It'll be interesting to see if he takes on that item battleground, knowing that those fish are so fat going in there. Those fish have counter as well, and with no spells really on hand to take those down quickly, besides Arrow, could make that a treacherous fight.
Well, on the item battleground, you have the Ooze battlefield, so no, there can be... Actually, can there be? Yeah, there can be a fish in the formation with the two skeletons and the fish, but it's really unlikely. It's a rare encounter, let's put it that way, so he might go for it because Ruben actually is pretty well fitted to fight the oozes, but if he gets 3 skeletons, he will be not so happy to see them because that's usually the formation you want to go with EB2 if you are there.
Yeah, High Spirits finding a Thunder Rock behind Jin and Ruben handing out the Tree Wither.
So he might wait with Tree Wither because you already did the Bone Dungeon and just going for the one check. Going back to Foresta for one check is quite a detour. Yeah, still, it's a guaranteed item, so might just be the key to unlock or solve the seed here.
Yeah, but without having exit in his arsenal still, that still seems like a lengthy trip to make.
Yeah, it's quite a detour.
Here's hoping he does find that exit spell, though. That'll cut that trip literally in half. If he does decide to take that route, he might just go ahead and dip, grab Ruben 2 from Fireberg, and take on Lava Dome while he's here, though.
Yeah, depending, I don't know where his money is, because for Lava Dome he will need some seeds. Yeah, he buys a bunch. Yeah, 9 seeds should be fine for Lava Dome. Also, if Ruben is the only nuker you have... he has Arrow.
Ooh, forgot to trade out for Ruben too. That is an option since he got his item check.
Spirits, no. Okay, he goes for Volcano first, but also there, if he plans to fight Medusa, then Ruben 2 is such a big upgrade.
Let's hope that he takes on a random enemy encounter first and then realizes, oh, this is still Ruben 1, and gives himself some time to backtrack. This is also an opportunity for him to find exit, though. So let's hope he does pick up that spell.
And we have some very annoying skeletons here on the battlefield, which should wipe him, unfortunately.
Yep, going down there. Ham forgetting that skeletons are weak to arrow magic in this area. This could be cleared up with a couple casts of that spell, but instead opting for full offense with the weapons, maybe getting a little bit of jitters for the race.
If you're not used to these race situations regularly, I tend to get really nervous. Especially at the start of the race, and if it's a third game, then it's naturally even more difficult to stay focused, because it's the last chance final decider.
Yeah, you're always feeling behind no matter what you do at this point.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I just want to go.
When the timer goes towards the 1 hour mark, you start looking at the race chat if your opponent already finished, and so on. These skeletons still are really annoying. They have a lot of HP, they confuse, and
yeah, but no worse enemy
out of this battlefield.
Yeah, no worse enemy here than confused Ruben, though. He will hit Ben, he will hit himself. It is almost guaranteed.
And Benjamin. So the thing is also with these battlefields here in Windia, these enemies are pretty high level, have really high speed stats, and which may increases the chance by a lot to get back attack. And then the enemies will have a free turn at the start of the fight. And if they have status attacks in this situation, then the chances are high that your partner or even Benjamin gets status attacked, and then you are in a lot of trouble. So I really would recommend doing these fights only with Phoebe 2. Because these enemies can be really strong, and with Phoebe 2 you have a decent chance to one-shot them, at least if they don't roll too high on HP. We see a white spell for high spirits on the Lava Dome, which will be really nice for the boss fights there.
Yeah, sticking it out with Ruben 1, though. Still has not realized he can go back and grab the upgrade for a boy. If Ham decides to go back and take on the Jinn and get some revenge, and he gets that Ruben upgrade, that could catch him back up. I would say right now he's back to being behind high spirits in terms of check, just because of how long he's taken him to clear out this battlefield. And his steel shield is not something you want to see as a reward.
That was really a time thing. Meanwhile, high spirits picked up the Cupid Locket in the Lava Dome, which I already mentioned is an essential item for fighting the Dark King later, and will also help a lot going through the seed with the fight. Like we saw, confusion can be a big issue. What worries me a bit is that he doesn't have fire resistance on Benjamin yet. And Benjamin is also pretty low level still for this fight. Dual Head Hydra will deal around 650 to 750, somewhere in between most of the time with the Flame Breath attack. And that hurts. And if he one-shots Benjamin with that all the time, he also highly damages Ruben with it for about 300, so it will be a long drawn-out fight if High Spirits decides to go for it.
Yeah, High Spirits, meanwhile, picking up some good items there. I saw multi-key being picked up, and I forgot what the other item was already. But you know,
Well,
making
multi-key,
some good discoveries
Wakewater,
here.
Cupid Locket here. Wakewater was somewhere else, but Cupid Locket and multi-key were the big ones so far in the Lava Dome, I think.
Yep, unable to check the moon helmet location so far. No mega grenades yet, but he could peek it later. The life spell box had a brown chest instead of a red chest, so that's good. No reason to double dip here.
Yeah, you don't need any items actually to clear the lava dome and to finish the boss fight, but you need for some of the item checks you need the claw, and for 2 of the item checks, or for 3, because in the one room there are 2 item chests in, you need the mega grenades, but if just with the claw you can check everything in the lava dome. So lava dome is a really nice early dungeon if you have already some kind of fighting gear for you to clear first in this flag set.
Yep, High Spirits opting to peek this room instead of going up the northern route and checking that item chest pays out for him. Only 2 brown boxes saves him some time there instead of having to go up, see that there's 2 brown boxes, double back down, and then make progress in this room.
Yeah, but that's the way to go actually in this room, I would say, because it's just there's one chest of these 2 chests that you can't see from below when you're going just through the room normally. So chances are pretty low that there's actually an item there, and if you have an item there, yeah, you have to go and you have to backtrack quite some way. But I would say it's worth a gamble because the chances that you lose out on this gamble are pretty low.
Meanwhile, Wildham just behind High Spirits in terms of progression here, although still not opting to use any spells, hasn't picked up any seeds yet. High Spirits is pretty stocked up though, so we're going to see the difference between having spell power and not having spell power. Wildham dipping out. Did he hit the door button?
No, I don't think so. We went there yet. The third important item, that I forgot was the white spell actually, which would have. I don't know if Whiteham picked it up because it would make his Jin fight also pretty easy in comparison to what High Spirits had.
Yep, he did pick up the white spell, and it looks like he's beelined it to Jin. This could make a huge difference for him.
Yeah, he will catch up if he goes for Jin now and then gets Ruben too. Oh, Flare! Wow, that's pretty stacked lava dome for High Spirits and for Wildham later.
Yeah, the treasure room truly living up to its name with all the boxes and gold lying around. That's just what I call it affectionately.
I think that we're like 5 red chests so far in lava dome and 4 really good items.
Yeah.
I mean, in standard logic, the multi-key is not that important because usually you get the Sun Coin pretty early in the seed and then you have Windia open up anyways. But in some seeds, actually, the multi-key also opens up an early Windia option. So,
not to mention giving you a free check with the Hermit.
Yeah, and you get 1 item for it. So it's a fetch quest. So you get the red chest and you find the multi-key and get the item somewhere else. So it's a bit of a fetch quest, but yeah, it's always nice to have.
I imagine this Jin fight's going to be a little cathartic for him here. This is going to be a little bit of a revenge fight for him after dying about 3 times.
But yeah, equip the claw.
Well, the cat claw doesn't give an intelligence bonus. It's only the charm claw and the dragon claw. So it looks like he opted for speed.
No. The cat claw actually does.
I thought,
at least in the vanilla game. I don't know if it changed for the randomizer.
I think we went ahead and checked the code, and someone verified that cat claw doesn't give an intelligence bonus. I can't remember.
I'm 100%. I think in the vanilla game it does. Actually. I wouldn't say I'm 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. But yeah.
Yeah, with white in the arsenal though, not gonna be a challenge, and Gaia armor nullifying the fear
really good for him.
Of sleep. This is gonna be a really fast fight. High Spirits moving on the Wyvern now.
Yeah.
This is gonna be hard with a Ruben 1.
Yeah. He definitely loses out on quite a lot of damage there, and on that's unfortunate. And yeah, he has this paralyze attack in his first phase, He will drop it later if he loses a head, but in the first phase he has really nasty attacks. So this is one of the few fights that get a lot easier because of AI changes later in the later phases of the fight. So in the first phase he has the AoE flame attack, which deals massive damage to both characters, but it's flame based, so Ruben is resistant to it. He has this nasty paralyze attack, and he has a small poison attack on both characters, which you want to see. This is the poison attack you want to see, 684 onto Benjamin.
Yeah, Redbone's breaking out quakes. Wildham not having an easiest fight as he thought he was going to have, and High Spirits is really going to have a struggle with this fight. He doesn't have life yet, so if Ruben goes down, that's basically a guaranteed wipe.
So he has to be really careful, and Benjamin getting one shot by the flame breath attack is the big problem here. But he gets through the phase. It loses his head, but losing just the head, but still having the stomp is not enough. You need to have him on one head to have the big phase change. And now, he might wipe.
Yeah, it's looking like a wipe there. And the trouble doesn't stop there either. Once you get to phase 2, Petrification Breath is on the table, and with neither of the characters having Petrification resistance, that could be a 2-turn kill.
Yeah. It's a pretty rare attack, but it can happen. Most of the time he just does the physical attack in the last 2 phases for around 500 damage, and thunder attack, which Benjamin is resistant thanks to the Gaia armor. So the fight will still get easier. Yeah, you have the chances of petrification, but what happens in the first 2 phases here is really ugly, I have to say.
Yeah, Wildham finding his groove with Jin, deciding that he's going to go ahead and just put Ruben on defend, use him as a fireproof meat shield. Plays out for him really well the second time.
And we have them chess actually there with the Thunder Rock. Wow.
Yep. While High Spirits already has Tree Wither and Thunder Rock, making this check before it. But again, forgetting to grab Ruben too. I'll be interested to see if Ham goes back to upgrade our boy Ruben.
Yes, he does it.
Yep.
Okay, that will actually be a big help. Well, I don't know. Yeah, he goes for Kaylee check.
Oh yeah, go ahead and knock out the Kaylee check and then go back and grab Ruben too.
Might be worse.
Could be.
If you would find a sand coin here, then it's definitely worse because getting Phoebe 2.
Yeah, or the Apollo Moon Helmet would be great. Aegis Shield would also be an amazing pickup from Kaylee here. Yeah, a lot of good options on the table.
That could be worse, so we will see. Minotaur fight totally free at this point. Probably will do an X attack or throw some bombs at him.
Yeah, bombs would be probably a guaranteed kill with Jumbo's. Cat Claw is not going to do it for him though.
Just an X attack. Hopefully it hits. Yeah, it hits. So fine. High Spirits still struggling with dual head Hydra. We get Sandcoin.
Oh, Phoebe's on the table. Yeah, we could see a very really fast Wyvern clear with Phoebe now instead of just going for Ruben. Yeah. Let's see what Ham decides to do.
I mean, it will be a bit of back and forth. He has to walk now, so he has to go to the Aquaria section, obviously, and get Phoebe. He also already knows that that's a big fine Apollo helmet.
Yeah, and not to mention he has the Venus key and Wakewater. So North Focus Tower and Spencer's Cave with exit are on the table as decent checks to make right now. Spencer could be holding on to mega grenades.
That's really big, actually. Yeah, totally right. And we also have this battlefield which is super fast, even with 3v1. 2 fights, 2 fire spells. Okay.
Ooh, there's the Petrification Breath coming out and showing its ugly face. Thankfully, it hit Ben and not Ruben. Oh no, double turn!
Oh my god. This dual head Hydra is just a massive roadblock for High Spirits.
Yeah, Moon Helmet. So even if he hadn't have found the Apollo helmet earlier, the Moon Helmet is there on the table.
Yeah. And yeah, as I mentioned, we have a ton of battlefields here in the Aquaria section, and since we already got all the experience battlefields, or most of them, we get a bunch of items on the battlefields too. So Wildham was pretty far behind, I have to say, before he made this play, and now he's right in it again.
Yeah, and that's how the randomizer works. That's why I love these tournaments, and I love this randomizer in
Elixir.
particular. Yep. So it looks like he might, after upgrading Phoebe, exit back out to level Forest again. Upgrade to Kaylee 2.
Yeah. He will do these two battlefields, or he should at least do these two battlefields here, and do all the Spencer and Wakewood stuff. That's still, or Mega Grenades.
Mega Grenades. So good.
And yeah, High Spirits will probably not do the KD check for quite some time still, I would guess. I mean, he's still stuck within the dual head Hydra fight, but even afterwards, he may not even do the KD check. So
yeah, unless he's last checked into that location, because the only thing I can think of at this point is potentially finding Gemini Crest in 3rd floor Pazuzu's tower. If Gemini Crest is there, he could warp to Aquaria from Fireberg, skipping that check. But again, like you mentioned, skipping that check is going to be very lengthy for him.
Unfortunately, Wildham doesn't use the fire spell on the desert tags there. Probably would kill 2 desert tags. They also rolled quite highly on the HP. But yeah, it's 1 turn more for him to fight those. Yeah,
I think he's being a little.
So.
Yeah, I think he's being a little fickle. Oh, not fickle.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Frugal with his spell charges. I think he's gonna hold on to Phoebe for a little bit here, but I would just blow through those fire spells personally.
Yeah,
Gemini Crest,
we have the
never
Gemini
mind.
Crest, so no chance for High Spirit to pick that up before the Kaylee check. Also, we have another chest in the Wintry Cave. We already saw that one here. And
yeah,
he gets the switch from PB2. Oh, wow.
He is geared out.
It's all the good stuff he gets here.
This is going to make Wyvern substantially easier for him when he goes back and clears out Lava Dome.
Yeah, and High Spirits is still stuck in the fight, and Wildham makes so much progress right now, so I would say Wildham is far in the lead, actually. From being really far behind, he's just jumped ahead. I'm not a big fan of what he does now, but we will see. Maybe even that turns out to be the right play.
I mean, there's 5 checks behind this bombable wall, and if he doesn't take on Squidite, he could just exit out and be done with it. Magic Mirror is
it already pays off. It already pays off. Wildham does all the right stuff at the moment.
This has been a very back and forth seed.
Yeah, it's really, and I feel really bad for High Spirits. I mean, you have to say it's a mistake for him sticking to this play right now, and he should accept that it's not a good choice to fight Wyvern in his current state. Not Wyvern, Hydra. But yeah, it really comes together for Wildham. And yeah, I mentioned in my post-game interview just an hour ago what big of a difference the mirror makes in the Ice Pyramid. When you have random positions for enemies and don't have the mirror for the Ice Pyramid, this dungeon is can be a real pain. You walk 2 steps, get a fight. Okay, you run away, walk another 2 steps, get the next fight, and so on. It can go for quite a long time. Mobius,
and Mobius, because good lord, Aquarius is loaded tonight.
And this will also make the routing from now on really easy. I still would probably go, check Spencer, check all the Focus Tower stuff and Battlefield stuff. I don't know if there was a item Battlefield up there behind
I think
the
there was behind Wakewater. Honestly, I would just go ahead and kill the crab.
Yeah.
Well, get it out of the way. He's got Flare. Oh, wait, did he pick up Flare? I mean, he's got White.
No, he didn't go so far into the Lava Dome, but he has White. But yeah, Crab player, I don't know. I don't know, but he definitely should. He does. Crab. No. What? No. No. Wildham, what are you doing?
I think he's going to go ahead and just check the first floor and then exit out.
I hope.
Yeah, meanwhile, High Spirit's going for that Kaylee check.
Wildham, go. Check one. Go on. X? No, he goes up.
He's diving.
He's diving, and he doesn't have a reason actually to do it, I have to say. So it would be really cool if he just exits out, gets his rewards for having Venus Key and Wake Water, and then exits on the world map back to Foresta, grabs PB2, KD2 with the elixir he got, and then goes directly to Windia, gets another Kaylee item, gets PB2, and then clears out every dungeon he needs to clear out.
I think
the difference on the boss fights will be so high.
I mean, think the logic here is just avoiding coming back to Aquaria, period. I think he thinks he's set here with white. Might as well clear it out while he's here before leaving. And once he does full clear Aquaria, there's no trip coming back here at all. You just leave and don't look back. Aquaria is done.
I see the thought process, but even though he has a white spell, we are talking about probably around 1,300 to 1,400 damage on the Ice Golem per white spell from Benjamin or Cecil. And we have boss scaling up to 150%, so Ice Golem could scale up to 9,900. He has vanilla value of 6,600 HP. So would still take some time, and he, as we know, he can also heal himself little bit, so might prolong the fight further.
Mega Grenade's making quick work of these trash mobs, though, just plowing right
really
through them.
Cool. That's really good for him. So I hope for him that these normal enemies don't scale up too highly, and so far he has some luck with that. And since he has a mirror, it's also really fast, so it's not a big problem. But yeah, since he got all the crests and stuff, I still think PB2 and then just doing dungeon after dungeon after dungeon would be the way to go for me. But yeah, you are right, it might not be such a big time loss in the dungeon.
Yeah, it would be an even faster clear if he'd have picked up Flare. But that was pretty deep into the Lava Dome at that point, almost like right before the boss. So I wouldn't foresee that being a viable option for him. At level 16, he does have 3 casts of white in his arsenal. Not to mention Phoebe's going to be doing what, about 800 damage with fire every turn?
No, more like 600. In vanilla, it's a bit above 600, so we have to see how Ice Golem rolls on defense. But yeah.
It's still about 2,000 damage per turn between
that's
both
not
characters.
So we are talking probably around 4 turn fight if everything goes smoothly from the Ice Golem side, because he has quite the defense loaded up, so there shouldn't be a problem with that.
Every resistance under the sun is now in Cecil's arsenal, so literally immune from every status element, so nothing to worry on that front.
There's also a chest there, so he has to open up this door. Yeah, it does it. That's good.
Yeah, taking some caution there, not to fall down.
Yeah. Always be cautious with the room. Especially with the fast movement speed of the randomizer, it's so easy to fall down here. And
I line up I line up that first jump, and then I just hold down the jump button all the way up to Golem. I don't take any chances with movement on the D-pad.
Yeah, definitely. And so get quite a big hit onto Benjamin actually. But and he didn't roll up too highly on his HP, so it should be fine. It will be probably 1 turn or 2 turns longer than he would do Flare, or with Phoebe having white spell. But it's still. Oh no! Unless Benjamin gets critted.
It's okay. I mean, Phoebe's still gonna have enough HP to get through this.
He won't wipe from that, but it still costs a bit of time, unfortunately.
Yeah, getting off his final white spell there, probably put in phase 4.
So. Yeah, and highspirits also goes in for the mirror. That's poor for him. So he won't. So actually now we see quite a good comparison between the two runners. Highspirits has its small advantage of having the flare spell for the Ice Golem fight, so he will make up some time with that. But otherwise, they are basically on the same route now, with highspirits just being a bit behind.
Yep, and I did see Ham fade about 2 chest checks on the way up here. Did not check the left side doors of first floor pyramid, and those could contain our Dragon Claw. He still needs that item to go in true go mode.
That's really unfortunate. he has checked at least. It's only Quake.
Garbage.
Yeah.
Let's see if he dips back in, checks the left-hand
So
side
let's see
here.
if Squidtide has something. I think wildham skipped this one.
He did, not having Flare, although High Spirit's cooking up some calamari here. Really just going to toast this boss in 2 turns, honestly.
He should throw Sana with Phoebe too, but yeah, it will probably be a 2 or 2 turn fight. 2 turn fight. Those didn't matter. But
Not at all.
nothing to be gained. So let's see what Highsprit does now. He also goes. He doesn't even check Spencer's cave. Goes straight for the ice pyramid.
Spencer, as we noticed earlier, holding on to our captain's cap, and Mobius Crest was... Oh, life, that's huge.
Oh yeah, that's another thing that you definitely need for the Darkwing fight. Going into the Darkwing fight without life is basically a lottery.
Yeah, but now Ham did win last match without having life.
Wow,
High Spirits, yeah.
That's really crazy.
He went in
would
with
not feel comfortable with that.
He went in with defense strats and had a perfect pattern. No laser on Ben off of his triage turn, so really had a good lucky run there. High Spirits did have life and took it a bit more aggressively, and it came back and bit him in the butt in the end. And it looks like Ham is going to make that play we mentioned earlier now, grabbing Kaylee 2. Going to go ahead and get that check out of the way after swapping out for the best girl.
So the thing High Spirits does here is checking all the chests directly in the ice pyramid, and that's a bit unfortunate. That's also something I learned from another run. I don't know who it was when I watched a race of the tournament here the other night. You can actually do just the straight way to the ice golem, the straight walk to the ice golem, and check all the chests that High Spirit goes for here directly on the way. So we just walk a bit up here and there or a bit down and can see the chests from there and know if you need to go there or not. So it's a bit unfortunate that High Spirits doesn't know that, because he will lose some time going around in the ice pyramid here.
Yep, is going to go ahead and get his life spell if he is thorough, though. Let's see what Kaylee 2 has. Lever Crest.
Okay, another fetch quest.
Yep, White could be holding on to our Dragon Claw. It's not completely unheard of. Meanwhile, Ham going to go ahead and use the worldwide network that is Firebird. Going to go ahead and warp back to the Hermit's basement. Might probably go to Lava Dome from here.
So, yeah, wildham just threw in the ice pyramid there, and otherwise sticks to the route that I would have gone for 2, and it's not a bad choice actually when I think about it, to do the ice pyramid with Phoebe 1, because he was so high leveled and well equipped, at least defensively. So the more I think about it, the more I like it actually that he already did it. And now he has a really nice way through the rest of the seed, at least for now on. If he would find the Dragon Claw, we already know that the Dragon Claw is not in here. So, but we also, I don't know, are there items behind Mega Grenades?
No, there was not one in Moon Helmet check, and there was not one in Life Box. High Spirits checked. He peeked it earlier on his way to Wyvern. So this is going to cost him a little bit of time. The only check that he needs to go back for in Aquaria right now is that white check in Leeward Temple. But honestly, after the Lava Dome blows up and creates that path, now he's already thawed out Aquaria. He can take a couple tile walks over and be at that temple to make that quick check.
Yeah, that's a big advantage of having the Wake Water early. You just have this nice connection between Freiburg and Aquaria after you clear the Lava Dome. And yeah, we will have to see if we have to dip another dungeon or if we find what we need in the Libra Temple.
I will say my favorite thing about Dragon Claw being last for Go Mode logic is you don't have to check Tree or Mount Gale or Pazuzu's Tower for any Go Mode items, because, you know, logically they can't be there except for in the 3rd floor chests, right? Or in one chest in Mount Gale.
Yeah. You have what also needs to be kept in mind is that the Libra quest and the Gemini quest and also the Möbius quest all open up in a few checks in the Alive Forest. Because you have these quests behind the trees there, which have 1 or 2 items each after or behind them. So if our runners don't find what they need, which is the Dragonclaw at the moment for further progress, right now on these 100% checks, as I like to call them, which are battlefields and NPCs here. So the NPC in the Life Temple after the behind the Libra Crest.
There's
Then
also
they should go maybe consider going back into the Alive Forest and check the crests there.
yeah, if they're not in the live forest though, that does leave Max ship on the table.
Oh yeah, we have the Thunder Rock and we have the Mega Grenade. So
And
yeah,
you technically
and
don't need the claw to get on the ship.
That's always awful. When I did a practice run last night for my today's race, and it turned out to be a 100% seat actually, because I was looking for the captain's hat towards the end of the seat and couldn't find it, and it was on one of the last few chests on Max ship, and yeah. Something like that. It always feels bad to go onto Max ship without the captain's hat, because it will be a double dip, and yeah, painful.
Yeah, it's always a wild card, the captain's cap. It's not tied logically to anything except for getting to the final dungeon, and because of that, it can literally be anywhere except Dune Castle. So it really is just kind of our wild card item check of the run. Can literally be anywhere.
Yeah, and that's why you're always happy to see it early in the run.
I get a big smile on my face whenever I pick up the captain's cap in the forest. I'm like,
oh,
thank God.
Oh, unfortunate movement error by wildham, but won't be too hard, too difficult, or too bad. He will get a bit of additional experience from that. 1,200, so... Yeah, so these enemies in the lava dome give a quite nice number of experience, so it's not too bad to fight some additional enemies here.
Yeah, and he's probably going to top up on seeds anyway, so might as well make use of those charges while he's got them. Be efficient with them and probably get him up one more level, get him to 700 GP. Just not
unfortunate,
enough.
But it's not a big difference. We saw the numbers already, so 680 should be fine with the fire resistance and all his damage that he has between the two white spots of Benjamin and Phoebe.
So let's talk shop for a second, because I have a strategy for this fight. If I am decked out to the nines like this, I personally would go in full offense until about 50%, and then if I'm not doing too good on HP, I'll basically put Ben in defense mode and have Phoebe keep laying out the whites until Wyvern is dead. Do you think that's the optimal play here, or would you approach this a little differently?
That's a good question. It definitely depends. So, in my opinion, the only fight that's basically laid out strategically is the Dark King fight. Otherwise, you have to see what the seed gives you and what the fight gives you actually, because depending on the attacks our dual head Hydra here does, the fight can go very differently. So far, even without the fire resistance, this fight would have already gone much better than everything High Spirits got so far in his attempt.
Yeah, I already saw a Petrification Breath. Thankfully, it hit Cecil,
yeah, that was
not
on
Phoebe.
The but it was also on Benjamin, which is not as bad as on your partner. So even if Benjamin would get petrified. So it's always RNG dependent what you have to do. I don't have a laid out strategy or tactic for dual head hider. I just see what it gives me and what it does. But it sounds not too bad if it works out from the attacks he gives you. So might be really good. But yeah. I just this one fight, Pazuzu is the other fight where I just have to see. I try to fit in any damage I can, and probably play it sometimes too risky, but usually it works out because
Ruben's dad's still on the table for a check too. I just remembered.
Yeah, that's also a bit out of the way. So
and doing his due diligence
decides to go for it.
Yeah, I think besides Medusa, Ham will have basically full cleared Fireberg now. High Spirit's making his way out of Aquaria, though, getting to that last check in North Focus Tower before he leaves. It's gonna be it's a little annoying that the Libra Crest was in Fireberg. It means
We
that
don't have fall basin yet. So you mentioned it earlier to go for the crab. No, none of our runners did it actually. So we have two chests still waiting in fall basin. If you go for fall basin in the seats with the brown boxes, don't forget the chest behind the waterfall.
Yep, that frozen waterfall in the top right corner does house a chest, and I've known Mr. Krabs to be a little miserly in holding on to a go mode item from time to time.
Yep. Fall basin is not an attractive check because it also only has 2 chests in there, and red chest locations are not in priority in this flag set. So
it is such a short check though. Like it's
a
what,
really
like a
short
3-minute
check. Yeah. It's a really short check, so it's not too bad to go for it. I usually tend to skip it, but yeah, unless I have to do it. And now we'll see the Libra check first, which is definitely the right decision if you don't find what you need here, but he does.
That's huge. That's go mode for Wildham. Aside from Pazuzu, he has everything
go mode
he needs.
And he has everything he needs for the fight too, so no reason to waste any more time. We will just go to Pazuzu, hope he finds it, we'll hope to find him directly on floor 6. And yeah, 2 more big boss fights for him, and then we will see.
I'll let you know a little secret. I've been running this randomizer for a little over a year. I have never, ever had a floor 6 Pazuzu in all my time running this randomizer.
We just had it in our race.
The envy is real.
Decides to go for a small detour and talks to him on floor 1. I don't know if it makes a difference in a randomizer. In a vanilla game, he won't appear on the floor you talk to him, which means that wildham won't have him. I don't know how it's programmed yet in the randomizer.
So in the randomizer, it is tied to seed, but it's also tied to the position that you talk to him on. So depending on the floor that you talk to him on is going to set his basically next floor position. I believe he has a static up or down movement tick. Like 2 to 3 floors, depending on the floor you talk to him from. So if you talk to him on 3 and he moves up 3 floors, he's going to be on 6 for you, as opposed to if you talk to him on 1, moves up 3 floors, he's going to be on 4 for you.
I understand. Yeah, that's really cool. I like this solution actually. That's a really good solution for that.
Yeah, we actually we found out during a GDQ hotfix that his position was tied to RNG and not to the seed. So Ham was watching that hotfix and he's like, no, I gotta fix that. We gotta make that more viable for races.
I like the solution to that problem. So that means, but is it still the way that he won't be on the floor you talk to him?
Yes, he will not be on the floor that you talk to him.
He will not be, yeah. And that means it can be a bit of a disadvantage for wildham right now, because having Pazuzu on floor 1 is definitely much more beneficial than having him on floor 3.
True, but that does mean that he'll be able to check every floor on the way up and on the way back down. So if he peeks him on any of the floors, he can go ahead and make a strategy from that point. Kind of a double-edged sword.
Well, you would only see him on the floor, way down usually, because he will only set once you reach floor 7.
Well, you could see him on floor 3 on the way up.
Okay. Really?
The floor 5 is the only one you can't peek on the way up because of the way the floor is designed, and it's so annoying.
But
and we got a floor 6 Pazuzu.
No discussion needed.
Yeah, that is insanely lucky. Ham really rolling everything he can tonight to pull out this victory. We'll see if this pays off for him, though. Jerkbird is called Jerkbird for a reason. Highspirits dipping into a live forest, though, still fishing for that claw. Has not made his way back to Aquaria to check white. This could be a lengthy time cost for him.
So, what can Pazuzu do to ruin Wildham's day? Not a lot actually, because wildham has all the defensive stuff that's possible in the game. He is immune to his petrification, he is resistant to his wind attacks. The only thing that could go wrong in this fight is actually a pile driver crit from Pazuzu.
Followed up by petrification on Phoebe, yeah.
Petrification on Phoebe into pile driver crit, or another crit onto Benjamin would be the way Pazuzu kills him here. Let's hope for wildham that this doesn't occur, otherwise he should be relatively safe.
Yeah, I would affectionately call that the Wombo combo right there, and just it would ruin this run. Highspirits literally last checking everything here, making his dip into Mount Gale. Gonna find that brown box.
Wildham definitely had the better check route there. High Spirits did the check route that I usually did. Up to today, I won't do it anymore because I never came to the idea of doing it the way Wildham did it.
I think that's my
now
favorite part of...
I think he goes for the chip play. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that's my favorite part of spectating and commentating this randomizer is, you know, being a player yourself, you kind of have your own strategies and your own thoughts about how to do things. But watching other players, no matter the skill level, can always bring some insight into different ways to approach your checks and your plays here. Yeah.
Even if players are maybe not as proficient with the game itself, they still have some really good routing ideas. And yeah, it's always good to see other players do their attempts and have their ideas, because yeah, you will definitely pick up one or two things from them.
Mm-hmm. And it's looking like this jerkbird is not too thick. This is pretty vanilla, would you say?
Yeah.
Ooh, and a nice crit from the bow. I love to see that. I kind
of watched onto High Spirits if he finds anything interesting on the chip, but yeah, we are pretty much at 100% or pretty close to it anyways. Yeah, that's really unfortunate for High Spirits. He goes back now to probably the Libra Temple to finally get his Dragon Claw in the go mode, but well, we have to see. There's still the great equalizer that is Dark King. And as I mentioned in the intro, Dark King can kill you anytime. You might play as safe as possible, and we also have one thing that I would like to mention. So for the Dark King fight, no High Spirits. Unfortunately, checks fall base in first. For the Dark King fight, I usually like to aim for level 20 because that's a pretty nice aim for several reasons. First, you have your 5th wizard slot, which means you don't need as many seats as on level below 20, because then you only have 4 probably. The other thing is the Spiderling attack he does in the 3rd and 4th phase, which deals above 720 damage. So usually between 750 and 790 damage. Meteor, okay. Not bad, but also not needed anymore.
Yeah, after clearing out Wyvern, Meteor is basically a moot point.
Yeah.
I did see Ham stack up on some levels when he visited ship last time. Be interested to see if he does this again.
He might. Yep. Yeah, he does it now. So that's a good idea to do it. Just to be safe for the Dark King fight. Every attack that one-shots Benjamin, every additional attack from the Dark King that one-shots Benjamin laser will always one-shot unless you over-level quite a lot. But every other attack that one-shots Benjamin is a high risk of wiping there. So I don't know what's happening in this fight, but it doesn't go as he wanted initially, unfortunately.
It looks like he accidentally left Phoebe on an auto from his Pazuzu fight. Or left her on attack, so got a bow shot off the first turn instead of a nice white clear.
Yeah, that happens to all of us. Just forgetting to put your partner back on menu sometimes.
Looks
it's
like
a small time loss, but it's not big of an issue.
Yeah, meanwhile, Spirit's treating us to some nice Baldusa. I love this sprite. It's hilarious, but it's not the right play to make in this seed, unfortunately,
I think he forgot about the Libra check.
Yeah. He'll probably remember it eventually. It's just going to be a bit of a pain. It always hurts when you find what you want last.
He loses so much time from that. Yeah. So going back to the Dark King fight, which will be coming up sooner or later for Wildham, deciding on when he decides to go there. Yeah, you have a bunch of attacks that could one-shot him. The Spiderling attack is the one that you will get the threshold to not be one-shotted at level 20 usually. And yeah, so that's why I always like to go for level 20. Usually I use battlefields for grinding experience to get to this benchmark. But the up point for Wildham, didn't High Spirits clear Lava Dome yet?
I believe so, unless he thinks he might have missed a check somewhere. He might be scrambling, feeling the pressure. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes you fade, you think you fade a check, and
yeah, you forget about one check, and then you are, wow, where is this last key item I need? And you don't get it, and you are just don't know what to do anymore because you think you have checked everything, but you're still lacking a key item.
yeah, and the worst one I've had personally, the most embarrassing one, is got to be Wintry Cave. I forgot to check that chest on the top right-hand corner as you walk in, and it had my progression, and it was locked, and I spent like 30 minutes just spinning my wheels.
Yeah, Wintry Cave is a good candidate for that one. Wildham did. He meshed A.
Wildham going for the double tour of the world.
Yeah, it's a classic double tour. Just mesh start when you are leaving the ship. Don't mesh A, just mesh start, and then you will be always fine if you have the exit spell, obviously. Otherwise, just mesh up if you don't have the exit spell, but never mesh A on the ship.
A great insight from Hatox here, reminding us here, High Spirits bailed on Wyvern.
Right. He did not
get through this fight,
he
so
didn't do the Hydra fight yet. Well, he did do it for a long time, but he didn't finish it, unfortunately. So yeah, he still has to do it. But there was not an item behind it, so yeah, he has to do it anyway at some point. He has to do it now, but still needs to go for this Libra check.
Chat, as much as I would love Ham to pull out a flex that is around the world victory lap, I think that double world tour was chalked up to nerves. I think he's feeling the pressure of this round 3, thinking he's behind.
I mean, he doesn't know where highspirits is, and we are where we are in the run, 1:08. So definitely, with a bit more luck on the fights on the route, and you could finish by that time. Both runners did some double dips or some not. So had some really big issues with some fights. Wildham with the Jin fight, highspirits with the dual head Hydra fight. So if I were in their shoes, I definitely would think that goes for both of them. That the other might have already finished or should be really close to finishing. And depending on how the Dark King fight goes, Wildham might just do it in a few minutes.
Yeah, some of our fastest times during qualifiers and during this round 16 of the tournaments have been around an hour and 1 minute. So once you get close to that hour mark, you are really starting to feel the pressure.
So good news for Dark King fight and for Wildham in that case is he rolled really low on defense. We have 2,150 HP per attack here, which is quite high. In my race, I had 1,900, 250 damage less per attack. That's quite a lot. And he also didn't roll pretty high on HP. So unless Wildham gets comboed really quickly in phase 3, this should be decently quick kill.
Yeah, it should be a pretty textbook fight, but anything can happen with Dark King. For anybody just joining us, the reason our runners here are taking on the Dark King instead of curing him, that has been patched out of the randomizer. Any major glitches such as, bombless or underflow or cure glitch on Dark King, all that has been patched out. There is no cheesing this. Minor glitches are allowed. You can duplicate an item one at a time by using an item and then running from the fight still, but that is about the length that you can get with the glitches here. High Spirits finally checking for that Libra Temple, getting his Dragon Claw, really feeling the pressure now as he goes on to take on Pazuzu. He still has to clear P Tower before going to Dark King.
Yeah, he will buy his behind for that, for not checking it earlier, unfortunately. And he probably knows what's happening on the other stream here. Wildham has minor, I wouldn't say problems, I would say minor issues. Phoebe hitting herself is actually pretty good. If she would have hit Benjamin, it would have been a wipe, but she just hits herself, gets revived instantly, so no problem here. And
this
gets
could be a
confused
problem.
again. Oh, that's a real big problem. But
Instantly breaks out of it though. I'm
out of it. So now we have. Yeah, he goes for the safe play, and that's totally good. That's a really good decision, and yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, pulling out the defense strat there.
She should live Phoebe with Benjamin now. Okay, he
Gonna go ahead and play extra safe.
No, that's not. But that's not the right play. He should have auto Phoebe here. If he goes for the defense, just auto Phoebe, then she will probably heal both characters.
Was
Or
she?
revive
So was she below
Benjamin.
50% HP?
Oh right, you are right.
Yeah, the threshold for a character curing themselves is
Yeah.
50% HP, so that's something you have to
yeah.
keep in mind when using auto strats.
You're right. She wasn't. And she had it right. So then it was definitely the right play, and I was wrong. So well done.
It's all good.
Wildham,
Yeah,
and
no.
yeah, he plays it safe. He plays it correctly.
Yeah, I'm
I
glad.
mentioned before the
I'm glad chat.
generous
Yeah, glad chat pointed out that this is finally a challenge. It's not an understatement. Like, this fight is commanding of your respect now. Let's see if he outspeeds him. I don't think he's going to. No, this is going to be a wipe.
No chance. It's. I didn't see it yet. I didn't see Benjamin outbeat ducking so far in this flag set. I don't know if it's possible from stats. Yeah.
I don't think at this level.
Yeah, I don't think on this level it's possible. So that was a small mistake by Wildham actually, because Phoebe was in one-shot range of the Dark King, and he didn't defend with Benjamin. Or he had two options there basically. One would have been to just defend with Benjamin again, and the other one would at least use the life spell, which would have been a bit more risky, but still reasonable.
Option 3 is just get lucky, but that didn't happen.
Option 3 would have been just get lucky and go with the flare. He went for the option 3, unfortunately, and got punished. So small catch-up potential for High Spirits, who is in the Pazuzu fight, but he has still a long way to go, and Pazuzu isn't that nice to him, just sky attacking Benjamin to death.
Yeah, he has been ruthless to all of our runners. I don't think I've seen a single nice Pazuzu fight. I've seen one-shots of Pazuzu, but they usually are lengthy. Definitely time sinks.
I had one today. My Pazuzu fight was super smooth.
Rub it in, why don't you?
Pazuzu standards, of course, but he will try to make your life bad, but there's always the possibility to deal with the minor issues he gives you, but mine was actually pretty smooth today, so I got lucky for once.
Pazuzu's tower is really where you start to have to respect the game and the bosses. Yeah. Everything else up to that point is pretty coasting. Wyvern's a bit of a bump on the road. You have to manage your HP, but Pazuzu and Dark King really bring out the strategy that the randomizer brings to the table with really figuring out these fights and getting through them optimally.
I like to say this flag set has 2.5 boss fights. So we have Dark King and Pazuzu, and the half boss fight is Dual Head Hydra, because it can be pretty difficult. It can also be pretty free. You have to see what seed gives you for that one. The other boss fights usually are relatively free, because we tend to have high-level equipment, high-level spells, high-level partners for them.
Wildham back in a sticky situation. Thankfully, did not get lasered here. If he had gotten lasered, that would have been a wipe.
Didn't crit. So the two things that can kill you if he gets petrified are laser attacks. That will always kill you. The other thing is crit from Dark King, and now it's not looking great.
Yeah, having to go back on that
triage
out of it.
Again. Yeah, that's really nice. At least she snapped out of it immediately and gets to revive Benjamin. So now she's again in one-shot range. So not a big fan of that. Yeah, now he plays it safe and gets lasered for it. Okay.
Yeah.
If that laser went onto Phoebe, then he would be in big trouble again.
Yeah, thankfully decided to opt the straight and poison pusher below.
Everything is fine.
Yep, that poison ticked her down to below her half HP threshold, so getting the double cure in that turn is very nice.
He plays it with Phoebe attacking. So that's also one thing that's I don't see actually an upside for that, because now he will still have to figure something out. Oh, he goes risky. All right. And he gets rewarded. So when Benjamin has 200 HP like that, and he goes for the strat he went. If Phoebe gets petrified, then game over.
Yeah.
Fight ends there.
And it's a play you got to make in these races, though. You have to weigh the options of playing it safe or risking it. And if both of our runners were at Dark King on the same phase right now, that risky strat could have rewarded him with the victory.
Might be. I understand that. I like to play the Dark King fight relatively safe, just keeping Phoebe on auto for the last 2 phases. Because usually every action Dark King does...
And that's time!
Yeah, but it works out for wildham here. GG wildham, first place with 1:16.58 or so.
Yeah, but it looks like High Spirits did not freeze up, opted to go ahead and forfeit after seeing Wildham take the final race there. GG's to both of our runners. We'll see if we can get them in here for a post-game interview. If not, huge shout-outs to both of them. That was a very back-and-forth seed. Some plays were made, and they came out and rewarded some of our runners, and others not so much. But that's how it goes with Randomizer.
Yeah, GG to both runners. Obviously, congratulations to Wildham for winning the race, but it was a really taxing seat, I would say. Both runners had pretty hard boss fights. Wildham against Jin, High Spirits against Dual Hydra. And doing the early Kaylee play and winning the race basically with that.
So with that out of the way, that means Wildham is moving on to the next bracket. And his potential opponent is in the booth with me right now. It's between you and Sir Linkalot, if I'm not... No, wait. Am I... Hold on.
Yeah, I think
I'm looking at this right.
Yeah.
You and Sir Linkalot.
Yeah. I mean, Sir Linkalot is a great player, so it's just a potential, I would say. And I think he has a good chance to still win the race against me. But yeah.
Yeah, we will see how the rando decides the rando for all of us. At the end of the day, that really is going to be what is the great decider is RNG and the plays that we decide to make. Excellent showing tonight, though. I always have been enjoying these round 1 races. They have been a great joy to watch, and seeing people new to the randomizer coming in and people who have a lot of experience with the randomizer come out and show just how different routing this can be and how rewarding and punishing it can be.
Yeah. And we have Wildham. Congratulations to your raceman. GG.
GG's.
GG.
How were you feeling when you got to Dark King? You rolled up there, what, 110, 109? Were you feeling nervous?
Yeah, well, I felt pretty behind after the terrible gen, and I think I waffled a bit. Yeah.
And your
I didn't have a lot of success at the beginning.
The little world tour with the ship accidentally taking 2 trips there. Chat called it a victory lap. I think the nerves were just probably getting to you, right?
Yeah. There's always a little bit of delay, and you're just like, you want to mash the button, want to go as fast as possible, and whoops.
Some pretty rewarding plays on your end, though. You played it a little risky. You did, I will say, you got caught up on Jin there for a little bit, taking some extra fights, but ultimately making the smart play of dipping out. How did you feel after you saw Sandcoin and you were like, oh, hey, I don't have to do all of Lava Dome? Did that really kind of like make you think you had a horse in this race, or were you thinking that High Spirits was basically right behind you the whole time?
Where was Sandcoin again?
Tree was a Kaylee. So he got it after the Minotaur fight.
Yeah, that was a huge relief, because at the beginning I was thinking, maybe I can do some progress with Ribbon 2, but that was just not an option. And finally you got access to Suncoin, and finally you can get Phoebe and Phoebe 2 and finally make some progress.
Yeah, always nice to not have to do Mount Gale or the Life Forest. Did you step foot in the forest at all?
Oh yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, you did first floor check tree.
Yeah, there was just nothing there.
Yeah, again, a race where early exit spell also makes quite the difference. And yeah, you got this early sand coin. How did you feel after the Jin fight? Because yeah, you took quite a while onto Jin trying to beat him with Ruben 1 and no fire resistance. So how did you feel after you opted out of that?
Well, that felt bad, but I knew I couldn't bet my head on it because before that I felt like with the exit spell and that I had a good advantage, but yeah, it was like I squandered all of it on Jin, and then I had to just pivot and go somewhere else.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
ultimately the great decider of this match was your knowledge check of, getting Libra Crest Temple out of the way and discovering your Dragon Claw and just
Yeah,
taking off for Pazuzu. High Spirits, unfortunately, last checked Libra Crest, ultimately, giving you the victory tonight. So, knowledge does play knowledge and a little bit of intuition goes a long way in these randomizer seeds.
Yeah. And go ahead, Wildham.
yeah, no. So our spirits did Giant Tree and Mount Gale.
Well, as much as he could. He couldn't. He didn't have Dragon Claw,
Oh
but
yeah,
he
yeah,
went and
right.
cleared out Crab. He went back into Lava Dome because he had actually faded Wyvern. Um,
Oh,
Missed his opportunity to upgrade Ruben to Ruben 2. He managed to get through Jin, but forgot to upgrade Ruben prior to going to Lava Dome. So he went in with Ruben 1, beat his head against the wall for a little bit, and then opted to leave. So that was a bit of a time sink for him. He did have Flare before leaving, though, so able to catch up to you a little bit in Ice Pyramid since he could melt Golem in like 2 turns. So there's a lot of back and forth this seed. I think we were on the edge of our seat the whole time because at one moment you were in the lead, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, High Spirits has a huge advantage now making some of these checks. So really big back and forth. But I do think, like T said, ultimately early exit came out to be the real MVP for you tonight. You went into Volcano way before High Spirits did, and that extra mobility afforded you some checks that I don't think you would have made otherwise, ultimately pointing you in the right direction.
yeah, that's fair.
So,
And it was also the pretty risky KD1 check, which he did relatively early. That gave him a lot more options for exploration towards Aquaria.
yeah, and Aquaria was pretty loaded. I think most of our in-game armor was in Aquaria. Decent spells in Aquaria. Life was in Aquaria. So all the good stuff hiding in the ice continent. But I do want to go ahead and say again, GG's doesn't look like we will be joined by High Spirits tonight, unfortunately. I want to throw huge shout outs to him. Thank you for participating in the tournament. Always enjoyable streamer to watch, chat. If you're not following High Streamer, go ahead and give him a follow. Go ahead and give Wildham a follow as well. Both really great players of the randomizer here tonight. Unfortunately, Wildham will be moving on. Any final thoughts, Ham, before we go ahead and close it up for the night?
Not really. Do we know who I'm going to face next round?
Not yet. One of your potential opponents for round 2 is actually in the booth with me. T, did you have anything you'd like to say before we go ahead and close out for the night?
I just want to congratulate Wildham again for a really, really nerve-wracking race that he won in the end. And yeah, I want to thank all the crew, all the organizers that make this tournament possible, all the viewers too, because it's always more fun if you have some viewers cheering and being on the edge of their seat. And yeah, I'm looking forward to my race on Saturday evening. It will be at 3 in the afternoon for Americans. It will be on 3 p.m. I think.
And you're in the lead in your round, right? You have a 1-0 advantage over Sir Lincoln.
I won this. I won 2 hours before my race by only a small margin, like around 2 minutes was the time difference, so it was really close too. So
Sir Lincoln, no slouch. This is going to be a stiff competition. So, Chad, if you want to catch that race tomorrow, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah, we'll be in 2 days on Saturday evening or afternoon where you live, depending on. So yeah, I will look forward to that. Will be close races, hopefully.
Awesome. Well, I will go ahead and close it out tonight. Thank you to everybody who helped get this production running. Shout outs to Hate13. You haven't heard him on the microphone, but he is responsible for the restream on tonight. Thanks to Final Fantasy Randomizer channel for hosting us whenever we need them. It seems like whenever we need a backup plan, they are always there to bail us out. So shout outs to them. Huge shout outs to Hatox for being our tracker for tonight. It is almost impossible to commentate and catch everything at track at the same time. So having an extra pair of eyes definitely helps out. Also, if you want to catch Hatox's next race against Farfaloo, go ahead and join us on the Discord. You can go ahead and join the community Discord by going to ffmqrando.net to check out the randomizer. There's a link to the Discord on the left-hand side. Huge shout-outs to Wildham, as always, for being our creator of the randomizer. Shout outs to my co-coordinator for the tournament, Shanigan. And finally, shout outs to everybody in chat. Thank you all so much for watching. It's a huge pleasure, like T said, to have you all in there cheering on our runners, asking questions, giving us someone to engage with so we can bring you some quality content during these races. But I think that is going to go ahead and wrap it up for us tonight. Huge shout outs again, GG to Wildham. Thanks again for High Spirits for participating in the tournament. Great seeing him race as always. And we are going to go ahead and call it here for tonight. So thanks so much, chat. We'll see you all next time.
Bye bye.